Don't take saving money for granted. Go to geico.com and you could save as much as 15% on your auto insurance in as little as 15 minutes.
I never chose to become a gambling addict, but what I did choose was to get help from a professional counselor.
For no-cost gambling addiction counseling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text SUPPORT to 53342. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Looking for a new place to eat? Delicious food at a great value? The Tri-City Center in Redlands is proud to announce the grand opening of a fine new dining establishment. Terry's Diner, at the former location of the Spunky Steer in Redlands, is officially open for business daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. with delicious, mouth-watering breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Treat yourself to Terry's tasty dessert menu, such as Terry's famous sundaes, banana splits, hot fudge cake, old-fashioned root beer floats, frosties, cakes, and pies, too. You'll find weekly lunch and dinner specials, all under $10, including Angus steaks, burgers, Greek salads, pasta seafoods, with wine and beer. Terry's brings years of tasty temptations from DJs in San Bernardino and Alta Loma. Join a new tradition in Redlands. Stop by at 1350 Industrial Park Avenue between Tennessee and Alabama in the Tri-City Center. Google Terry's Diner Redlands on Yelp or find them terrysdinerredlands.com.
Hey, this is Fly Music Radio. Immaculate here, getting you plugged into the hottest music, artists, up-to-date entertainment, events, and good vibes every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We'll be right here live, and we want you to be too. Listen on 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, or 106.5 FM. Catch us on KCAARadio.com, anytime on demand on our podcast page. Listen live on the radio or whenever you want on the net. That's Fly Music Radio with Immaculate, keeping it fresh and live on KCAA NBC Radio every Saturday at 6 p.m.
Erin here from On the Brink Morning Show, where we talk about all that is engaging in the Inland Empire. News, politics, business, family, things to do, and so much more. Join us weekdays from 6 to 7 a.m. on KCAA 102.3 FM, 106.5 FM, and 1050 a.m. or on KCAARadio.com.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 a.m., the station that leaves no listener behind.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the greatest real estate investment show ever. Here's the flip-flop investor himself, Todd Bayer.
Hey everyone, how we doing out there today? This is the Flip-Flop Investor Show, and I am your host, Todd Bayer, the Flip-Flop Investor himself. Every week we like to get together, talk about real estate investing here in the Inland Empire, and every week I like to bring on a special guest to talk about their experience in real estate. This week, we have no exception. He is also a very special guest, somebody we've known for a little while, Miguel Martinez. How you doing today, Miguel?
Doing good, Todd. How you doing?
Doing all right, you know, just hanging in there. It's kind of a rainy day.
Yeah, it was.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I heard this. Although it's raining outside, you're the one making it rain.
I don't think I heard that.
No?
No.
Oh, man, I thought I heard that you were the one out there making offers today on properties.
Well, that is correct, but I don't think I wouldn't count it as making it rain.
Why not?
I think those are two different meanings.
You two? Oh, okay. What does make it rain mean? What am I using this term improperly? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, okay. So I've heard it used in a lot of different contexts. One of them being probably something somewhat, I don't know, what, less than classy, I guess.
Yeah, something like that.
I've also heard it from people. You know, they're making so much money, they're making it rain.
That's not me.
That's not you, man.
No.
Oh, I brought the wrong guest on. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. Miguel's. You know what? Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, who you are and what you do?
My name is Miguel Martinez. I am originally from Colton, California. I work with
Local
Homeowners
boy.
Resource Group. Yes, local.
The Homeowners Resource Group.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's okay. So you work with what does Homeowners Resource Group do?
We're definitely in a small acquisition company out of Riverside, California. We've got about just 4 members. We spend most of our time on the ground game, door knocking, targeting foreclosures, trying to help people out.
Mm-hmm. That's funny because I wouldn't call 4 people a small group.
Really?
Because like most people in real estate are like a solopreneur. They're like a one-man shop.
it's really hard to do it all by yourself.
It is hard, but there's people that do it, and they don't do a lot of deals. But like I'd say, like if you talk to most people, it's 1 or 2 people. So 4 people, I'd say, is like a mid-size almost.
Yeah, we do pretty good.
Considering you guys' volume too, I mean, you're doing like mid-level amounts of volume. So
we're actually trying to scale up at the moment. But,
I know.
I mean, that's just conversation for your next week's guest, actually.
Oh yeah, am I getting another homeowners resource guy next week?
I think so. I think your transaction coordinator has it for the 24th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
another blue shirt.
Look forward to that next week.
Yes.
But the thing is, I don't look at who's coming on next week. I look at who's going to be here this week, and I want to know all about Miguel. So, homeowners resource group. So you guys help people, solve the problem that they got with the house that they're currently in, and is it now? Some people like to accuse real estate investors of like lowballing. You're just out there to prey on the weak, prey on the people that are in, a distressed situation. I mean, is that an accurate portrayal of what homeowners resource does?
No, not at all. Like, when we go out and we talk to people, there are those people that say, oh, I think my house is worth this much. And if the offer that we make isn't, they're like, okay, well, then we can help you list it with a realtor. But there are also those people that, they don't live in the house. They inherited the house.
Yeah.
They don't have what it takes to repair it, get it up, and list it on with a MLS, or they want a fast, cash sell. They're like, oh, we want to go with you guys. We like you guys. Just want to close as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And we tell them sometimes 15 days. Sometimes, like, oh, can you do 10?
Yeah.
And so we provide a service. Like, we're coming from a good place. And
of course.
And if we show up to the house and we're like, wow, like this, your house is in good condition. This isn't the houses that we usually go for. Would you like to see what we would offer and what you would get with a realtor? We're really upfront.
Right. So I think I think to condense that down maybe a little bit is that, you guys aren't offering one solution.
No, not at all.
Because there's no one size fits all answer for everybody's real estate woe, right? I mean, there's a lot of reasons people could go into distress, and you guys are there to answer all forms of distress, which can, it can run the gambit. You and I have talked about
yes, we have
people that have serious drug problems, right?
Those problems. I mean, sometimes family issues. I mean, death. That's one of the ones that we really came across a lot in 2018. What people do. People don't really have an idea of what's going to happen. When they don't have all their affairs in order.
Right.
As far as unfortunately, like when a family member passes away, we have that house that, hasn't been maintained for the last 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
What's going to happen with it. And the process can be quite tedious for a lot of people.
Yeah, I know. Because, we've dealt, both of us, we've dealt with our fair share of probates and things like that where, a family member passes away. Usually it's a parent in most cases, because a lot of husbands and wife will carry a property as joint tenants. So when one dies, it just goes to the other person, and then hopefully they're making a trust or something like that they can transfer the property into. And then when they do pass away, their heirs are not going to be stuck dealing with trying to figure out who has title and all this stuff, because you've seen the families warring before, right?
Yeah, definitely. I can get real messy real quick, but I think towards the end of last year, we also came across one where the brother had passed away, so there was no wife involved, so the sister had to still handle a lot of like that the procedures, but we were able to help her out with the process and really guide her in the next destination.
And he had no children either?
No, he did not.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of like next of kin, right? That his sister's being the closest to him at that point.
Yeah, so he was already in his early 70s, and his sister being mid 40s. So so there was quite the age gap, but at the same time, he didn't have any kids or next of kin. Yeah. Obviously, parents had passed away a few years ago, so we helped her out with that process as well.
Yeah. And we're not probate attorneys or anything like that. So, anybody that has any interest in getting involved in the probate process, go talk to your probate attorneys out there. There's succession attorneys, people that can help you set up family trusts and stuff like that. We're not those guys.
Not at all.
Yeah, we're just talking about it from an investment standpoint, because obviously a house is a big asset that comes around for us, and one of the methods that we employ, you do as well, is finding it through a probate process. Where, generally speaking, when you're going after a probate lead, are you going in right at the beginning before they've even made a probation filing, with the court, or are you going in after that initial filing's been made?
Well, in my experience, just the last deals that I've dealt with as far as like probate, it's usually through like a lead of something, like a lot of burnt properties, and I usually just want to know what the process is going to happen, like what it's going to be. And I usually do go in not with like the quote unquote like investor like hat, but more of like, okay, how can I help? You know, because a lot of people are just, they're in that distress situation. They want to know, you know, what's going to happen. So I do usually go, we do usually go before the probate.
Yeah, so you're like actually helping the people that are that own the property or the rightful owners of it after, you know, whatever. You're helping them kind of file for the probate, get the whole thing going, hoping to expedite that in some way.
Letting you know how much it's going to be for a probate attorney. Like, I mean, there's a lot of people, they're not really sure where to even start. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, we've seen some bills come in, you know, but I mean, generally speaking, you know, maybe we shouldn't put a price on it on the air because probate attorneys charge different prices. But you know, it's not something you want to pay for. I think the moral of the story is for people that if you have a succession plan in your own mind, you should get that into a trust, because a trust is the only thing that avoids probate in California anyway. I don't know how it is in other states. I've never actually looked into it, but
neither have I.
I think probate law is the same nationwide because of. There's a piece of legislation out there somewhere, and I can't remember what it's called, but maybe someday somebody can email me and let me know what that is, because I knew it yesterday. I just can't think of it right now. But
you'll remember it later.
I'll remember it later when it's not important anymore. My wife, she'll be like, "Oh, cool, that's interesting."
At dinner somewhere.
Exactly. So yeah, but the probate process is, you know, it can be lengthy. We're helping somebody through a probate right now. We've been doing it with it for over a year and a half. Is how long we've been dealing with this. And you know, the problem is new heirs pop up, new people pop up saying that they have a claim to the property too, and everybody gets their day in court. So
that is true.
You know,
this is California.
I'm sure you've dealt with this, right?
Yes, we have.
Like any unique situations pop up where, you know, somebody crawled out of the woodworks and they ended up being the rightful heir? Anything like that happen?
Not where they were the rightful heir. There was a trust for property in Grand Terrace, and somebody that it was one of the burnt properties that Homeowner Resource Group tackled on, and we helped out this gentleman. The property was at some point in a trust, and you know, unfortunately, the mother, she didn't die in the fire in the house, but she died at the hospital. But prior to that, 10 years before that, her and her daughter had a falling out. You know, words were exchanged. Don't ever want to see you again. But once, as soon as she heard that her mother had passed, and suddenly there's a piece of real estate involved, she shows up.
Of course.
So but fortunately for that situation, the trust overpowered everything.
So the judge basically looked at everything and said, because there was a trust, this was her last written intent of.
Yes, and it was actually I think successor was the son. So he was the one that signed off on the property.
Okay. So I mean, yeah, weird stuff happens. You know, we've seen it. But there's obviously plenty of ones where, you know, it's like two siblings or whatever, and they both fully understand what's going on, and you know, they're willing to work together. There's no animosity. There's no, you know, contention. It just goes smoothly. Those ones are nice because they're pretty quick. You know, you can usually get them done in like a month or two.
And I don't know how often they're happening on our end. What about you? But they don't happen too often.
Yeah, exactly. But they do. You know,
they do.
We don't. I think in 20. Let's see. What was the last time it did happen? Good for us. I actually think it was like 2016 was the last time we had one that worked out like that. But you know, yeah, they happen. But most of the time, yeah, there's something. Somebody shows up. People are angry. You know, and
yeah, I think I was just telling one of the gentlemen from Rehab Loan Group, another company down in Riverside, that out of all the deals that we did this year, I think one was a gentleman here in San Bernardino where he said, yeah, you know, our affairs are in order. We're looking to do a 1031 exchange. Send me over the paperwork. And I was like, it's almost like scary when it's super quick or easy, you know. And he was like, yes, the house is in a trust. I'm the successor. Okay, that's a good price. Let's do it. It's almost scary when it happens according to plan. Like I'm like,
right.
Are you all right?
Yeah, because a 1031, I mean, that's something that you got to know what you're doing when you're doing a 1031.
Oh, it's not his first, so.
Yeah, so like he obviously knows some stuff about real estate because, you know, for people out there that don't know, a 1031 exchange is when you exchange like a rental property for another rental property, and there's no taxable event there because, you know, if you had bought this property for $50,000, 30 years ago, and now you're selling it for $300,000. There's a $250,000 gain, which, if you don't want to pay taxes on that, you can defer that tax by doing a 1031 exchange where you're buying another rental property with that $300,000 or a series of rental properties. It doesn't have to be just one, but you do have to be buying rentals. It's a like for like exchange. And of course, there's people out there that do 1031s. Don't take my word for it. Go talk to somebody who does these things, a real attorney. Check with your financial advisors and so forth, because they'll tell you exactly how to do it. I'm just some guy on the radio,
I'm
talking
here
about
right with you.
Yeah, me and Miguel, we're just hanging out, talking about how we do real estate deals. But 1031, I mean, that guy obviously knew what he was talking about. So,
yeah, I think he was liquidating his father's estate. So, again, out of all the deals that HRG has done, it was almost scary where he was like, yeah, go ahead, let's do it. I was like, really? Like, there is no out of this world sibling that's gonna pop up? Like, you have all your affairs in order? Like, yeah, let's go. I was like, wow. Yeah. It's almost scary. I don't know, you said that about 2016 is the last time one went according to plan?
Yeah, about that. And we've had other deals where they're just, they went off right, like nothing happened. I remember I had a triplex that I sold to another investor, and when he bought it, I mean, everything went exactly like it was supposed to. There was nothing that came up. We already did all the work. The property inspection was done. Nothing was found. Like termite, everything was good. Like, it's just everything was just done. And then we closed escrow. And I remember the realtor. He's a pretty big time broker. He calls me and he's like, "So we closed escrow today." He's like, "This was weird. Did we ever talk during the whole escrow process?" I was like, "No." And he's like, I don't know if that's my fault or was this just one of those weird deals where everything just worked exactly how it was supposed to? And
I like how he called it weird.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. It's weird when nothing happens in a transaction.
We could sit here and talk about the good deals, but at the other end of the spectrum, there's also those ones that just go left real quick.
Oh yeah, like what most people would call a weird deal would be the ones that have like a ton of hair on them, and multiple family members show up. The neighbor shows up because they own some piece of that property, at least they think they do. Some guy says he lent them money to do their roof years ago, and he shows up.
Contractor lien or something.
Yeah,
like that.
mechanics liens. Yeah. Yep. All that stuff shows up.
Those are the things that we're usually used to seeing. Like, oh, okay, something else pops up. Like, that's pretty common. But in order for someone to go actually according to plan, I'm actually surprised about that.
Yeah. So you guys basically, you're out there, you're getting these leads. I don't know if you want to talk about your lead sources at all, but
I could, but it's pretty standard. A lot of people think that that we do a lot of like just weird matrix, but a lot of them are just through internet network. As far as for myself, like like I mentioned earlier, like I'm originally from Colton, so like I just in the beginning, before when I started attending the Inland Empire Real Estate Club, like I was just all over the place, driving to Montclair, going to Orange County, driving to Hesperia. Yeah. But it wasn't until I took out another investor to lunch. I don't know if you want to mention him. It's go for it. Andy Teasley. Was it the Wizard of
the Wizard of Wobbly Boxes?
That's correct.
Yeah, Andy's been on the show a couple times.
Yeah, so he mentioned that he doesn't do deals more than 20 minutes away from where he lives at.
Right. And at some point you get to that luxury position.
Yeah, and then I was just kind of like, I'd like to take little nuggets from every investor. I enjoy the show. I enjoy the interviews with your partner Stephen McKee. Yeah. So I just focused on that. I'm like, well, why am I driving to all these places? He would, Andy would say like the best way to find deals is to get off your butt, put on your shoes, get in your car, go out and find them. I just turned off the laptop and I did just that. Just drove around Colton, Grand Terrace, Rialto, Bloomington, and eventually I landed on 2 deals in Bloomington that I called Charlie upon. Charlie is the owner of Homeowners Resource Group. He put him under contract. Again, that was one of those weird ones where the negotiations took all but 20 minutes, so I was kind of surprised about that. Yeah. And then he brought him and he did a joint venture with your company.
Yeah, 2 of them. Yeah. Those 2 deals, right across the street from each other.
Yeah, 2 on the first one. I was kind of spoiled on that too. But that kind of really is what set it off. I mean, there was some prior stuff of me and educating and trying to figure myself out, but that right there was like the turning point. I think March 31st, 2017.
Okay, that was like your first deal.
Yeah.
That was the closing of those, Bloomington deals. I remember those. Yeah. Those were fun. Hell's Angels had taken over one of those.
Yes, and then I also remember, because I'm the one that took the phone call and actually got that lead through a bandit sign.
Oh, nice.
So I started with like I know it's weird to say with little to no money down, but I basically bought those plastic signs from Home Depot, black Sharpie, put up like 200 of them. And
Dang.
I got a lot of prank calls from like tenants, calls thinking I was a realtor, but eventually that gentleman called, and I've never met somebody more motivated in my life.
Yeah. I don't know the backstory on that deal, but I just remember that the Hells Angels had taken over the property, but I don't think they were the owners, right?
No, they were the I think the son was the owner. No, the son was the the one from he rented to his mom, but his mom, she was elderly, I think about early 80s. So I mean there was just a lot of things, but what struck me as odd was that he said that he had called everybody. He called like everybody, but nobody went.
Wow.
So he said that he was really old school. He said he even sat down and went through the phone book and called everybody, and nobody called him back.
Wow.
So when I took the phone call, I was like trying to set up an appointment, qualify him, find out a little bit more. And then when I was trying to set up an appointment, he was like, "What do you need an appointment for? I live in Colton. I'll meet you there like in 20 minutes. I don't want to talk numbers, but you saw obviously the contract. I mean, this guy was extremely motivated. And then from that popped off more leads from Driving for Dollars, bandit signs, some family members. It goes good with like Internetwork. My mom and my aunt, they actually sent me 2 leads, and then my aunt sent me 1, and actually we did end up getting those houses.
Oh, okay.
And still in the Colton Grand Terrace area. Yeah.
So I mean, that's the thing is, and we say it all the time, don't be a secret agent. A lot of times when you say that, it applies to like a real estate agent, but if nobody knows what you do, nobody's gonna like help you find stuff. Like your mom, your aunt obviously know like what you do, so they're like, "Hey, Miguel, I got this person that has this house they need to sell." If they didn't know you did that, they wouldn't have called you, because why?
That's true. I mean, another thing is they just they didn't usually go as far as like, oh, I have this person that needs to sell the house. It would just be more of a phone call like, "Hey, there's a house that's burnt on this street. Yes, it wasn't burnt yesterday, so you might want to go look at it."
Yeah.
And that's actually how the phone call went for the Grand Terrace property that we were just talking about. Yeah.
With the trust where they're all set up.
Yeah, but actually that actually went pretty smoothly. There has been other ones that have dragged out pretty rough.
So let's take it back a little bit. Let's go before you got into real estate investing and everything, because we were talking before. We were talking yesterday, or was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I don't know. We went to lunch the other day.
Okay.
And we were talking about sort of like your transition from like high school to college. Like, you graduated high school in 2007, which was like the worst time in the economy to like graduate high school and like enter the working force, right?
Yeah, it really was.
Like, I'd like to get a job, please. But like, yeah, we're going out of business. So
that was pretty much the picture I graduated, high school from. Like, went to community college, kind of like sitting there like, okay, well, professor's telling us the economy's in the dumps right now. So I'm kind of just like, okay, then what am I here for? Still trying to figure out, doing the whole typical switching majors a couple times. And then I took like a 3.5-year break between community college and the university. Still trying to figure things out. I mean, then eventually just decided to go back to the university, graduated from Cal State San Bernardino with a business degree, thinking that, things were going to change. And, I get to the corporate world, and I found the system to be a little bit flawed.
Yeah. So like we were talking a little bit, because you went and, so you interviewed for your job like somewhere on the East Coast, right?
I have interviewed for a couple of companies. I don't want to really say them on the air, but the one that did, and that some of them were very, very reputable companies, like international companies. FedEx was one of them. Airmark, I don't know if you know of that company.
Never heard of them.
They work a lot in logistics and uniform business, and that's the one I interviewed for in Philadelphia. So I mean, things were happening, but just getting into the corporate world, like immediately after college, I worked for a rental company. And I was going to work, suit and tie, thinking, okay, this is it, like starting career. But it just seemed like the system was flawed for me. Like, like I saw the gentleman that was basically the position that everybody wanted to have eventually, making a 6-figure salary,
right,
being called the boss, but he didn't really seem to love his life or even like it. Like, he had the 6-figure salary, but he commuted all the way from Marietta to Victorville every day. I don't know how long time wise that is, but that's
not too bad. I mean, there's worse commutes out there, but
Marietta to Victorville, that's pretty long.
There's probably some people on listening right now that are on the freeway thinking like, I would love it if my commute was only Marietta to Victorville.
If you're here from here to LA, it's not really like mileage; it's more time.
Yeah, so. There's a lot of people, but you know what? For those people that are listening to the show, congratulations, good job, because this is what you should be doing during that time is educating yourself. Listening to podcasts, listening to audiobooks. Obviously, you got to tune into the Flip Flop Investor Show. I mean, it is the greatest real estate investment show ever. That's what they say.
People lining up outside your door.
They're out there all the time. Actually, it's funny. I do run into people every once in a while that listen to the show. Yep, fans. You got a fan thing today.
We'll talk about that later. But yeah, going back to working in the corporate world, having that suit and tie every day, it seemed sort of flawed where I wasn't really making that much more money than I did when I was working in like a warehouse. So it just seemed a little odd because the gentleman that was making the 6-figure salary, he didn't seem to have the life that I wanted. Like, no wife, no kids, no girlfriend, just the career, the 6-figure salary, and every week was 72-hour work week.
Wow.
Every week. Yeah, they start you off like hard, so, but I think it lasted about 5 months before I quit, and I did it like professionally, did the 2 weeks, but in those 2 weeks everybody was like, what are you doing? Everybody would kill for a job there, like that's a great company, but something seemed odd about it. Like, the system's flawed. Like, everybody around me was like, they were ready to just continue to work for the next 15 to 20 years to get the 6-figure salary.
Yeah, and it's funny. Like, I mean, growing up, like, obviously when I'm in like middle school, high school, like you think of like, you don't have a good grasp of what like corporate life really is. Like, what do people even do in an office all day? And it's so hard because there's so many like administrative type jobs. Like people's job is basically to take customer calls, and they're supposed to enter something into a system, and then they follow up. I don't know. There's like so many different things that people do within an office. I could sit here and talk about it all like all day. Things that people do, but like administrative structuring is so vast, and that's typically where we're going to start, right? Like if you're coming out of college, you're like starting in the administrative side of business, which could be a lot of things. You're not going to start as the office manager. Probably not anyway.
No, that's not what I started as.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, in your case, you're working for a rental car company that, you're out there washing cars.
Yeah.
As a college graduate.
Yeah, everybody had to do it, whether they were the assistant manager, manager in training, the intern, everybody had to do it. I saw the branch manager, guy with the 6-figure salary, he was still washing cars every once in a while.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I know when we had lunch, you asked me like, oh, did you work at the corporate building? I'm like, no, I thought that's what I would be working at with the college degree, but it really wasn't at all. Like, you're still like,
not initially anyway.
Not at all. Not at all. So, I lasted 5 months, and I quit, and then I started taking interviews. That's when I went to Philadelphia, did an interview with them for Aramark. I did an interview for FedEx. So they're very known companies. Yeah. Then I did this. I moved to Texas, started doing stuff out there, but didn't work out as well. I just, so now I'm back. I had already moved out since before college. So next thing you know, I'm kind of like down again. I come back from Texas. I moved back in with my parents, still not knowing what I'm going to do. And then I decided to get 2 jobs. Work one at the family business, a restaurant, and one at a supplement shop. Okay. So, I mean, work ethic was there, but I think what I always lacked was direction.
Yeah. So. Well, it's tough. I mean, like, especially like in the United States, our education system teaches nothing about entrepreneurship, starting a business, being your own boss, that sort of thing. Like, the education system is really designed to create people that are able to work for companies and, create worker bees essentially. And, you get set up with your salary package, your pension package, maybe, which they don't, a lot of companies aren't even offering that anymore. I heard UPS cut pensions the other day. So,
oh, wow.
That's kind of a big deal. That's a big company cutting pensions, but
actually, I just had a conversation with a friend the other day. I was like, well, I never really knew what the lines on my when I was an employee at 10W what's the
W2.
A W2. I don't know what those lines meant. Like, my employer had to explain them to me. That's kind of odd because they're gonna explain to me in their favor. Like, why didn't my professors really explain to me what those lines all meant? Like A through H, A through G. Like,
right. Yeah, all those things you got to fill out on the W-2 form, like,
Nope.
how many dependents you have, should you, like, all those things. Those are,
How to write a check.
Yeah, like, okay, so did you have home economics when you were in school, like middle school?
No, but I mean, even when I went to high school, entrepreneurship or even starting a business was never really, or even going to college was never really like put into our heads. Again, we kind of knew there was kind of some news that the economy was kind of going down already in like 06. We were seeing some signs of it, but as far as like in Colton, there was never really I never really knew too many business owners. It was mostly either you go to work for one of the local companies here, or you just start working at a logistics company. Yeah. So eventually, much like in entrepreneurship, you just got to figure it out.
Right.
You just have to figure it out on your own.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what it is. It's a grind. It's a hustle. It's like you just have to be determined to succeed and stick to it. Right. I mean, I don't know. It's one of the hard things about being an entrepreneur and talking to people who are not entrepreneurs, or people that don't have that entrepreneurial mindset. The people that do not read, personal development type stuff. Like they just do their thing, and like they go home and they have their family lives and stuff, which is great. I appreciate those people, but for the people that want to be entrepreneurs, like they're constantly doing stuff. They're educating themselves, and they're, for a lot of them, it's that fear though. It's the fear of making that jump.
The fear of the unknown. I think but I mean, I did grow up with an entrepreneurial dad that eventually did kind of say, hey, I'm out of here. Like, I'm going to go start my own business. And he did start he still has a restaurant today. We were talking about it earlier where, I saw the struggle. I saw what it was like not to really make money in the beginning, or sometimes come home with no money. Right. And then also that 5-year mark where he kind of got over the hump, and next people were coming out to him. He was getting catering orders. So I mean, I did see a journey, but at the same time, there was also like me working in the family business. I also saw kind of like the things that could go wrong, the micromanagement, when to step away from it. But like I said, going back a little bit, I think it's 2016, around the same time, someone recommended reading Robert Kiyosaki. Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay. The Gateway Drug book.
yes, it is. To a lot better books too as well. Like just expanding your mind. But I met somebody that actually was in a joint venture deal with you guys. I actually knew him from Cal State San Marino, but I just ran into him at the mall, and he invited me to the to the Inland Empire Real Estate Club.
Oh, really?
So at the same time, it just kind of things clicked together. Like I was reading about real estate, not knowing what the next step was, then somebody invited me to the Mission Inn, to the meetup.
It's weird because, like, as soon as you start doing something, like, all of a sudden your mind is, like, open to the possibilities within that thing, right? It's like when you buy a car, all of a sudden everybody's got that car driving around on the road, right? As soon as you start reading books about personal development, all of a sudden these opportunities show up you didn't even know existed before. So your buddy, who's telling you, like, hey, man, there's this club out in Riverside. You should come check it out. And, like, now you're like, oh, yeah, I'm kind of reading about real estate right now. Maybe.
And then help that he also had a deal with you, so I was like, okay, I officially know somebody that's doing it, so it is possible. Like, and then so that's
the other thing too, and and that's probably why we have the show. That's why I bring on people. It doesn't matter their experience level. I just like to show all the people out there that are tuning in that there are people here locally doing this stuff. It's not just people on the TV. It's not just Tarek and Christina and Scott Yancey. It's not just those people out there doing it. Like there's other people. There's local people that we're just regular folks. We don't have crazy TV shows. I know I might have a big time radio show and all, but on a nationally recognized brand, I don't even NBC. That's a big deal, But
I mean, your schedule must be filled up for the next 2 months.
It is.
Oh, right on.
At this point, I think it actually is. I think we have guests for like the next couple months already lined up.
Thank your transaction coordinator.
Exactly. Thank you, Joanna, for setting that up. And those of you that tune into the show regularly, Joanna. You've probably met her. She's been on the show. So anyway, I don't know. We were talking about showing people that there are people out here locally that do it. Like last night I went to the Black Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club, the one run by Thomas Chappelle. Yeah. And a lot of the folks there, they're kind of saying the same thing. Like, we need a community of people because, like they're saying, like in their own community, they don't have a lot of people that do this kind of thing. And it's important for them to like have other outlets where they can talk to people and get to know people within the investment world, because people want the prosperity that's available in real estate. But how do you get it? And it's tough without a mentor. It's like, it'll be hard. Like, Steve was my first mentor. Steven, my business partner now. Like, it would have been difficult going into real estate without him because he had a better grasp on construction costs. So when I'm like looking at a deal, that was like the big question mark when I'm looking at my deal profile. Like, what do I put here? I have no idea.
Repairs and things like that. Okay.
Like, what does an air conditioning cost? You know, well, it depends. You know, like, I mean, there's so many factors that go into things, and like that was hard for me. And without Steven kind of helping out with like that little part of it, and then walking the properties and giving me some confidence that I'm not missing something. You know, even though he wasn't much more experienced than I was, like he'd only been doing it about a year prior to that. So
a year's a long time. People don't think it is, but I mean, sometimes I look back, like, I mean, March 31st, or I mean, if you want to say March 1st, the day that contract was signed, I'm barely coming up on 2 years. And I mean, I think, you know, I have made some money, but you know, it's a weird thing to say that the money is second. More importantly are the people that I've met, the experiences that I've had, the things that I've learned. I mean, I think I learned more about business in the last years than I ever did all my time in college.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because I mean you don't know about business and you like learn the importance of all those administrative roles that happen in a bit. You'll start learning like all that stuff like as time goes on, and it's, you know, you get so much more experience working in you know, starting your own business than you would going to work for a company, because you're just going to learn that one job, and you might know a little bit about some of the other people do in there, but you know, you're not qualified to take over somebody else's job in another thing. But when you start your own thing, you have to wear every single hat right in the beginning.
That's correct. That is correct.
So like, you're the door knocker, you're the guy answering the phone, you're the guy writing up the deal, you're the guy doing all the research, you know, you're the guy following up with them, you're the guy, you know, going out there finding the financing, you're the guy doing the entire thing.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just an entrepreneurial life. Like, you got to figure it out. You're on your own. I mean, but luckily, like I said, I was attending the IREA, your meetup, you and Stephen McKee's meetup, and met some people, took some people out to lunch. But then I really, like, early on, I think after like the second or third, I was like, okay, like, I don't want to just think about doing it or talk about doing it. I actually want to do it. I don't want to just become like, looking back on it, what they call a seminar junkie, where you just go to all of them. I actually did go to the Robert Kiyosaki one too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but that was the only seminar I've been to. Mostly it was just the meetups, you know. But eventually,
did you go to the Kiyosaki one before or after you came to ours?
I think second. So first I went to the IREA, and then afterwards Robert Kiyosaki.
So so you probably went to Robert Kiyosaki thinking like, why would I pay money for this when I've already got a resource back?
That's exactly what I was thinking. So, and then I mean, a lot of this was like luck. I got lucky to meet, you know, the gentleman that was working with you, Luis Banmeyer. I got lucky to meet them. Well, I mean, I already knew Luis from college. He also went to Cal State San Marino. But
I need to get him on the show.
Yeah, it was luck that I saw him at the mall that day, though. Like, I mean, I could have seen somebody else from school.
Yeah,
but it was him. But shortly after that, I think like 2-3 months, I met Charlie again, the homeowner of Homeowners Research Group. I knew that, you know, we definitely shared the same work ethic, but obviously had more experience. He definitely had the construction background, as you mentioned, Steven did.
Right.
So Steven does, I mean.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I mean, Steven was involved in the trades since he was a kid, so he knew a lot of these people growing up, and you know, he never really worked in the trades so much, you know, but he, you know, he's done some odd jobs here and there, but never like, you know, on a daily basis doing framing or something like that. But he knew more about it. He definitely knew how to price it out better than I did. And he knew a lot of people, which was also important because I didn't know any contractors. I'd never, you know, at that point, I'd not owned a home yet. You know, like I was still like renting an apartment. So I didn't know anybody, like, if to repair anything. I wouldn't know who you even call. Like, okay, I need a plumber because the toilet exploded. Okay, I could look up a plumber, but, you know, I'm going to call like Roto-Rooter. I wouldn't call, you know, John down the street. Like, I don't know John. You know, he doesn't put an ad in the yellow pages.
Definitely.
You know, or you might, but he's like the little ad, and, you know, as a consumer, I don't know who that guy is. You know, I'm like, this was like, I got started kind of like before Yelp and all these like online review sites existed. So you had to go based upon word of mouth, and, you know, or you just kind of went with a nationally known brand, something like a Roto-Rooter, because, you know, that's all you know. So,
definitely.
You know, but they're not going to give you
a good rate.
Well, I mean, they might. I'm not going to talk bad on Roto-Rooter. They've definitely helped us out in the past. But, you know, they're not always the most competitive. But that goes with all kinds of things. You know, but there've been times we used Roto-Rooter actually just recently on an investment property because, you know, they were the only ones really available, which was kind of good. You know, like sometimes availability is important. So, you know, they're always there. They're dependable. So good on you, Roto-Rooter. We'll be calling you for sponsorship. No. Yeah. So, I don't know. We were talking about all that mentor stuff, and so it's good
Yeah.
you came to the club because you met some people that you could work with, and you know, because
changed some numbers. I mean, Charlie wasn't the only gentleman I had met. I had met other people, and they're part of the people that IREA has for like the mentoring, like Lisa Milhot, Andy Teasley. At the time, Jim was just Jim Keller. He was just not starting out, but he was really like ramping things up.
Oh yeah.
But I met somebody with the same hustle and probably even more hustle and drive than myself, which was Charlie.
Right.
And like I said, I like that we had the same work ethic. I mean, he was always on the move, always driving to properties. I mean, it just seemed a little different from everybody else I was meeting that was like, telling me about making offers on the MLS and, getting in touch with the realtor. This guy was like really in the trenches. So at the time, for somebody who like was still trying to figure things out, I came back from Texas, basically broke, but not in debt because I didn't take a loan out for school. So thank God.
Okay.
That's how he just told me. And I think one day he was just like, okay, well, you're reading about it, you're talking about it, and we were on the phone, and he was like, it's time to just jump. Like, you're on the edge of the pool and just jump. If you said you have signs, why don't you just go out and put them out? And I did, and eventually they did lead to those 2 houses in Bloomington.
Yeah, and that's what it takes. It just takes that little leap of faith.
Yes.
And what's the worst that's going to happen? I mean, in your case, you were living at home. You already didn't have a job. It's not like because you did this, you
at 2 jobs at the time.
Oh, that's right. You did say that. You were working at the supplement shop and at the restaurant.
That's correct.
So
the work ethic was there. The direction was what I lacked.
Yeah,
and that's what mentoring is there for.
Exactly, because I mean, what's the next step? I'm a guy driving home right now from my job. I'm sitting in traffic. It's raining outside. I'm listening to this show and I'm thinking, okay, great, I want to do this, but what do I do next? Like maybe I have some experience. I've been listening to podcasts. I'm on biggerpockets.com. Maybe I've even been to the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club, but I'm sitting here thinking, what do I do now? Like, how do you just start doing stuff? If you had to be in that position right now, like what would be like knowing that, like now some stuff, right?
Yeah, I know some stuff.
What would be like,
but little stuff.
But you guys do the stuff that gets deals and gets leads probably the most effective way, which is FaceTime with people. Like you're literally spending time in front of people's faces. And so many people have a hard time with that.
Yeah, I actually had a hard time with it myself. I remember a long time ago, the whole saying, like, how do you teach a kid how to swim? You just throw him in the pool. Well, that's kind of what Charlie did with me. Like, hey, he told me, hey, here's 30. This is before I even knew anything about Property Radar. He just told me, highlight the address on top of these, go to them, and just talk to them and see what's going on with them. And at the time, they were all people who were falling in default with their payments. So I was like, I didn't have like the blue shirt, like they didn't have the homeowner research group shirt. I was completely unaware. But you basically just go out and do it. And it's kind of like, it's kind of scary in the beginning. You're kind of like, okay, well, what is this person? I think the biggest thing is that you don't want the person to answer the door in the beginning. You're like, man, I hope they don't answer because I don't know what I'm going to say. But then eventually you just get over it. Like, I mean, especially because with some of the with a lot of majority of the sellers that we're dealing with, we spend a lot of time with them. I think we talk about like, it's usually 8 to 10 touches as far as like in contact before they basically sign the paperwork. And I mean, we do go into the actual transaction, but I mean, it's easy to say I can make offers from the seat of my, my chair and on the laptop in touch with a realtor on the MLS. But, you to be really in the trenches, you have to be a lot of like the groundwork.
Yeah. And there's a lot of realtors out there and, you guys can do this too. There's no rule about you going and talking to homeowners unless the house is listed. They got things there, but, like there's no rule that says you can't go talk to homeowners. Obviously, we live in a time where people are a little more reluctant to answer the door. So you might even hear like the TV going on and like, somebody's home, but they're not answering the door. I'm sure that's happened a bunch of times, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think I've gotten yelled at once.
Like through the door?
No, with the door open. Okay. But I think I saw another interview, by the way, fan of the show. So I've watched several interviews, but I think I watched another one of your interviews like, hey, you know what? Getting yelled at isn't that bad.
Yeah,
it's not that bad. I got over it.
Yeah, I think you're talking about the one with Selena, because Selena said she went to a house and
no, that was a recent one. It was a little older one, like from the other other location.
Oh, okay, yeah, before the studio moved status.
Yeah, that you were like, well, it's not that bad. I've gotten yelled at before.
Yeah, I mean it happens. It
happens, but you know what?
It's what you do about it.
But more than anything is when they actually thank you, like when you do help them.
Yeah.
When you realize, hey, I'm going to 30 doors. one of those persons is going to be like, yes, I do need help.
Yeah.
And when you really like sit down and see what the hardship is, see how you can help, let them know what your service is, because it is a service, and let them know this is what, how it could play out. And then like, okay, let's do it. Then it really is fulfilling.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, we have knowledge in real estate. We've been working in the business for a little while, so we know what we're doing. But a lot of people that own a home or were suddenly became a homeowner, a lot of times you meet these people and they really don't know anything about real estate at all. And it's, like they're so confused. Like, they're like, do I call a realtor? Like, what do I do? And like when you guys show up at their door, you guys know what to do. You can help them through the process, which I think is great, because you're not just there. The initial thing when you walk in, and I tell a lot of people this is what you should be doing. Walking into it, your intent is not buying this house at a discount.
No, it isn't.
That's not the intent. The intent is helping the people out. And that could mean a lot of different things. Maybe they actually are a good candidate for a loan modification. Selling the house isn't the right move for everybody. It might make sense for them. Like, they want to stay, their kids go to school there. They can make a payment. They just can't make the payment that's currently being asked of them because their loan interest rate reset or something like that. There's a lot of reasons why it happens. But, for some people, it's like, maybe you're a good candidate for a loan modification. Let me put you to the right resources for the loan modification. Maybe I'll even help you get it. We'll call the lender up and we'll do all that stuff, with you, so you can feel confident that somebody's keeping an eye on it and watching over your shoulder. So those are the things I really appreciate about what you guys do. Yeah,
and then, I mean, just a few months ago was the first time I actually sent a lead over to a realtor, because I showed up and, again, another call from a bandit sign. I don't know why. Like, I think I got lucky on the bandit signs, but yeah, they're still out there. And we did the tour. We let her know, this is the price that we can give you, and this is the price you'd get for the realtor. But in reality, we were just, we're fair, like, wow, your house really isn't bad. It's actually very well maintained. She's like, you know what? Like, can you basically guide me towards a realtor? And I was like, well, yeah. And then, that is a different solution. Maybe we didn't buy the house, but we did help her out, because she asked me, like, okay, well, do you know of a good realtor? I was like, I do. And I got her connected with a realtor.
That's good. Yeah, and that's what. And the people are going to see that, like when you're dealing with people, they're going to see that. They're going to, they're going to get that genuine attitude from you guys, where you're just there to help. And it's not always going to be, we're going to buy your house from you. A lot of times it's, let me help you get to the right thing. Let me, whatever, help you get through the situation in any way we can. So, oh wow, I didn't realize we were running that short on time. Okay. I'm going to mention real fast, because we kind of touched on the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club, but we haven't really gone into depth about it. For those people out there that want to get into real estate investing or are curious in some way, the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club was set up for people that are new and for people that are seasoned, to basically collaborate, work together, find mentors, find joint venture partners, find lenders, all kinds of stuff, so that anything you need to get started in the business is there in that room. I mean, we have over 4,300 members now. It's it's an insanely large group of people. It's one of the largest attended groups in the entire state of California. So we meet once a month at the Mission Inn. That's at the fourth Wednesday of every single month. So that'll be next Wednesday, which I never open up my calendar. You've watched the show enough times. I don't know. I never have my calendar open for this part, but
not too sure.
January 23rd at the Mission Inn, 6:00 p.m. is when it gets started. If you're a member, you can get there at 5. We have a little 1-hour pre-meeting sort of hangout hour where there's a couple drinks involved. For some folks out there that like to do that sort of thing. But we also have this Saturday, the 19th. We have Saturday morning coffee. Come out to Lift Coffee Roasters at 8:00 in the morning.
I'll be there.
Yep, you'll be there.
Yeah,
I'll be
definitely.
there too.
Right.
I'll be there for a little bit. I got something going on that afternoon, so I can't stay the whole time. But I'll be there in the morning. I'll be there at 8. So
I heard good things. Good coffee.
Oh man, coffee's great. And actually, we're coming back to Lift. We left Lift for a little while because they closed.
Okay.
They closed that location down, but they've opened it back up. So we're excited to go back to Lift because it's a nice venue, good coffee, good people, comfortable environment. The space is really nice, so it'll be fun. We got some pastries coming at you and everything. So Oh, for the main meeting, it's $30, because we need to cover the cost of the room. As much as we love the Mission Inn, how much we appreciate them letting it host it there, they don't let us do it for free. So we do charge $30 for non-members to come to the main meeting, $10 at the lift thing, and that includes coffee and pastries. And we also have the cash flow meeting, which is on the first Wednesday of the month. Next one there will be on February 6th. That's where we get together and play cash flow, which you've done that before.
Yeah, I went to the last one up at Round Table Pizza. I had a lot of fun. I actually won.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I was a mechanic.
Oh, yeah, mechanics always win. Mechanics and janitors, it's the way the game's kind of designed because...
Yeah, it was actually really fun. I think teachers also have a good chance, but I think the gentleman I was playing with, just like you said, played a little too aggressive. You know, but it gets your mind flowing. Teachers have a good chance of winning that game, and I think it's because Robert Kiyosaki, his dad was a teacher or a professor. Okay. So I think that somehow that's sort of like a way that the teachers have a little leg up in the game just because he wanted to show his dad you could be a real estate investor, his real dad. If anybody who's read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he's got his real father, who he calls his poor dad, who wasn't poor financially. He just didn't spend his money well. He didn't buy assets. He bought liabilities. And then he has his rich dad, who's his buddy's best friend's dad. Mike. This guy, Mike. Yeah, Mike's dad was like a real estate investor. He owned a bunch of businesses all around town. He was the rich dad because he had all these assets, and eventually his money was working for him. He didn't have to work anymore in his life. So that's, you learn a lot of lessons from that. But that cash flow game is great because you really gets your mind going. Yeah. It does, which is cool. Creative too as well. Very creative. Ways to buy deals without any money out of pocket. Teaches you how to partner up. It's like a live action version of what we do in real life. So that's on February 6th at the Round Table Clubhouse in Highland. All this stuff is going to be available on meetup.com. You can go to meetup.com and look up the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. We're the big group, and with almost 4,400 members. And then you can find all the events on there to pick out which one you want to go to. You can go to all of them if you want. They're free for members, but each one does have a small cost. We're going to be starting up a new meetup, which we're announcing actually today for the first time. Really? New meetup is going to be on the second Wednesday of every month. So the next, this first one is going to be on February 13th. We're calling it the Deals Club. This is for people who want to piece together deals. So we're going to have people come, bring deals that they're working on, and they're wondering, is this a deal? Or what do I have to do to make it a deal? Sort of a deal analyzing? A deal analysis group, okay. Yeah. So we're basically going to do it live on stage. Bring your deals. We're going to talk about it in front of the whole group, and we're going to collaborate with the entire group about how to make this work. So it's going to be our first one. Bear with us. It may not be amazing the first time, but it's going to be really educational. And as time goes on, the format will get more buttoned up. So where will that one happen? We have two options right now. It could either be at the Mission Inn or it's going to be at the Hyatt in downtown Riverside. All right. Either way, it's super close to our office, so not too much walking distance. But yeah, that one's going to be hosted in conjunction. Actually, it's going to be kind of a panel of people. So will you be on the panel? I'm going to be on the panel, at least for the first one. I don't know if Steven's going to be on the panel or not because I think he's actually going on vacation that day. But cool. We got Ryan Raven from Rehab Loan Group. He's going to be on the panel. And I think Jim Keller is going to be on the panel, but I have to get confirmation from him. And I'd like Andy Teasley to be on the panel. I was thinking that. But, we'll see what we can get to, once we get to that point. But this will be like where you just bring your deal. We'll talk about it. Is it even a deal? How can I make it a deal? And have a lot of fun. We're probably going to go into a lot of financial calculator stuff in there. Mm-hmm. So for people that want to learn how to, work financing type deals, notes and stuff like that, this will be a good meeting for that. So okay, we're excited. So yeah, February 13th for that one. And then go to meetup.com. Look up Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. It's a good time. You get to meet a lot of good people there, and it's completely worth the $30 as far as I'm concerned. It really is really fun, really good, really networking, better than a lot of these, sales pitch. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I should mention that there is no sales pitch. No, there isn't. Like the reason why we charge $30 because that's what the room. Like we have to pay for the room. It's not free. Like we give away food and stuff like that too. So really good food. Yeah, I know. We got the tacos there now. It's great. The Mission Inn makes good tacos. Yeah. So we'll be there. The cost of it, like if you find like a free event, a free real estate event, that's where you want to be careful because that's probably where they're going to sell you on some, big seminar or some kind of big ebook or whatever. They're going to sell you something. Mm-hmm. So we charge because we don't sell anything at the meeting.
it doesn't make money. The club costs me money every single month. It costs, all the sponsors that are involved. We all contribute to it to keep it alive and moving because we all benefit from it, being in existence. So
I did.
Yeah. And I appreciate you guys coming because it's, you guys are one of the people we like having around. And Charlie's one of the mentors of the group. So for those people out there that are trying to learn how to become a wholesaler or, if you really if you're interested in learning how to door knock, you guys would probably actually take people out, right?
I would talk to Charlie about that. I would ask him. I think he is your guest next week.
Yeah, I think he is my guest next week. But I know you guys have taken people out before.
I believe he has.
You never done it?
I'm getting ready to take out our first gentleman. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So anything you want to add? We got like a minute left. So
for anybody out there that's really looking to get started, I would definitely check out, Inland Empire Real Estate Club. I mean, network, and like you said, don't be a secret agent. There are those people that are out there looking to help, and I just have to be ready to learn and put in the work. That's big.
Yeah, pick up a phone, make some phone calls, knock on some doors. You don't have to have a fancy list with a bunch of addresses on there. You can literally walk around your neighborhood. You know the house. You know the house that has problems. It's the one that has no lawn. Like they've got a broken down car on the side of the house. There's 65 cars parked in the driveway somehow. All that good stuff. So thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back next week, Thursday at 4 p.m. for the Flip Flop Investor Show. Thanks, Miguel, for showing up. We'll see you all again next week. Take care, everyone.